Moving tips!
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. As usual, moving is what we're going to talk about. There are actually a myriad of reasons you might want to move your garden. Maybe you purchased a new greenhouse and want to transfer your tomatoes and other vegetables inside before fall sets in. Perhaps you just bought a new home and want to relocate your favorite perennials to the current landscape. Or maybe you simply want to place potted plants into the ground instead. By the way, do you know what plant can live without soil? See you in the comments. Don't be shy to share your knowledge. But before we will find out how to properly move plants, we propose you to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell not to miss the dose of useful info full of tricks, tips, advice, and hacks. Okay, let's get back to our topic.
Moving tips!
Whatever the reason, you'll find the need to move your garden from its present location, which is not something you should do without reading about it first. There are a lot of steps to successfully moving your garden, so get your hoes, your wheelbarrows, and your expandable houses ready, folks. Let's move! If you're able, choose the season you move. The worst time to move a garden is in the heat of the summer. Not only is the dryness damaging to the roots, but the sun is especially hot at that time of year and direct sunlight can cause a great deal of damage. Provided you aren't moving into a winter wonderland, any other time is better. Of course, if you have no choice but to move your garden in the heat of summer, there are tips we will include along the way to ensure your garden's safety. Mark where everything is going to go first. Whatever the new location for your garden, be sure to have the spots in which you are going to plant them ready to go ahead of digging out and transplanting. In other words, visually indicate what's going into them so things don't get confusing. If you are moving in the heat of summer, we suggest dousing the spots with water before transferring the plants. The root will need the moisture after the shock of being uprooted. If you aren't sure exactly where you want to plant, dig trenches and create a temporary nursery for your plants. Pot, bucket, or burlap. Get the transportation ready. If you are moving your garden from one pot to another, or if you are moving your potted plants into the ground, skip this step. But if you are moving your garden from one home to another, then you'll need receptacles that can also be moved. If basic pots or buckets aren't available, wrap the root ball in burlap for transporting. The shock of moving is enough to kill a good deal of plants, so it's important to make sure the transport goes as smoothly as possible.
Moving tips!
Use a special watering schedule for soon-to-be-in-transit plants. It's important during transportation that you water your plants correctly. Not to mention that watered plants are also easier to remove with the root intact. First, you should water your garden the night before you plan on moving it, so that the plants are well hydrated for the move. This helps them sustain what's called the jolt of transit. Secondly, don't go easy on the roots. Soak them well. If by chance you have plants with bare roots or naked roots, the bottoms of these plants need to be submerged in water for 2 to 3 hours before being replanted. Here are just a few common bare root plants to look out for. Shrubs, hosta, daylilies, roses, fruit trees, prairie onion. Trim excess stems. It's suggested that you cut off any stems or foliage that are dying or in excess. Doing this will diminish the trauma your plant might experience. However, this isn't universally necessary for all plants, so use your best judgment. Dig up using the drip line. Now it's time to dig up those plants, but you won't want to dig into the base of the plant. Doing so risks chopping up a healthy root. Instead, take a hand shovel and dig a ring around the main stem of your plant, carefully paying attention to where the roots are positioned. This is the drip line, otherwise known as the area your plant drips onto the ground, and it's a great method for digging up plants. Put your plants onto their transportation vehicles to get them ready for their final destination. Replant. the right way. You want to plant your garden in its new location as soon as possible. We would suggest doing it right after you're done uprooting them. If that isn't possible, then quickly get them into their temporary transitional home. Just remember, the longer the plant is out, the harder it will be to set. It's time for moving tips fact. It may seem mysterious, but there are a lot of plants that may live without soil, but with water around them. Orchid, bamboo, air plants, moss, and paper whites. Reduce stress on the plants. Once you have your plant in its place, give it a little shower to cool off the leaves. Provide some shade for plants planted in direct sunlight for at least a couple of days. You might need to water these plants every day until they grow strong again. Also, if you see anything drooping, water it right away. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching us, and let us know in the comments below what you want to know in our next videos. You may also find a lot of helpful topics connected with moving and how to survive it at our blog on moving-me.com. Do not underestimate the power of tips from professionals, and good luck with your move.
Moving tips.